Hi, I'm Tom Edwards. I'm the Chief Digital Officer of the agency business here at Epsilon. And today's discussion is going to be all things Apple. With the Worldwide Developer Conference keynote just wrapping up, there were a number of key announcements, from the revamp of the iOS operating system with iOS 11, to new Mac hardware, to new iPads, and most importantly, probably a new product launch in the form of the Homepod. We'll get to that here in just a moment. Now, when we think about Apple from a marketing perspective, the majority of the focus is always on the hardware. So it's about enhancing that consumer experience, less about advertising, more about enabling the experience. When it comes to enhancing experiences moving forward in terms of the next iterations of the operating system as well as products, it's becoming really evident that artificial intelligence, and specifically machine learning and deep learning, are going to play a very key role in Apple's strategy. That's supporting both iMacs and iPads and iPhones, in addition to the evolution of Siri. So the core aspect of how machine learning is impacting the experience is, a more natural language processing experience with Siri. But also a key part around machine learning is the ability to quickly categorize information on the local device in and of itself and make it discoverable. So that's a key element of it. Another part of it is predictive aspects of the iOS experience, everything from aligning text to recognition of specific locations from a news article that then applies directly into your smart response within your message. All of these things together are going to be, whereas artificial intelligence is a foundational piece of this. What we also may end up seeing happening is this evolution of the chip hardware within the hardware devices themselves. So there's a lot of speculation going into WWDC today about the Apple Neural Engine chip. And the reason this is important is you need to have specific chips and processors within the actual phone in and of itself to drive some of these more complex systems, whether that's machine learning directly on the device or whether that's initiating AR-based experiences. AR-based experiences is another way in which Apple is looking to leap forward. So Tim Cook, their CEO, talks about augmented reality as being one of the core areas of focus for the organization. I personally was a little disappointed that Project Mirror Shade, the secretly anticipated augmented reality glasses, didn't necessarily make a showing here. But Apple did launch the AR Kit, which essentially allows for augmented reality support within applications. Think what Tango does for Google in terms of providing kind of spatial awareness and providing the building blocks to actually deliver augmented reality solutions. Apple now has a comparable product in terms of AR Kit that's going to be accessible and available to support within iOS 11. So again, you're seeing this shift towards leveraging of augmented reality, this shift towards machine learning and artificial intelligence fueling the systems. And that leads into the final big announcement today, which is really tied to HomePod. HomePod represented a new product launch today during WWDC. And so this is Apple's entry into the smart speaker market. So think Amazon Echo, think Google Home. So with Apple's version, they focused on it through the lens of music. Obviously, they focused on the quality of the sound. They focused more on, Siri's ability to be a musicologist. And then it was kind of ancillary in terms of the other key components of focus here, everything from IoT and integration with Apple HomeKit, as well as some of the other features we're used to seeing from Alexa and Google. So when you think about this from a marketing perspective, where Alexa and Google have definitely created a spot for themselves from a marketing standpoint is the support of third-party developers. So everything from the 10,000 plus skills on the Alexa skills store all the way through to the hundreds of actions now that are being created on the Google Home platform, specifically extending the reach of Google Assistant. This is where I feel like the next evolution, of the HomePod needs to really focus. Initially, it's about providing a consumer-centric product that's definitely going to be best in class, both from a design perspective. It's this mesh-wrapped speaker that looks like a Mac Pro edition. All the way through to making sure that even from a visual perspective, whenever you talk to Siri, that the visual cues that are given back are a high-end experience. This goes back to what I discussed at the onset. With Apple's focus on creating consumer-centric hardware that is definitely aesthetically beautiful, performs well, is the is the first and foremost focus. From a marketing enablement standpoint, Apple's focus is more about how you incorporate within the overall ecosystem of Apple products, using the tools that they're providing to develop and create new experiences that can connect and enhance with consumers. I definitely look forward to the Worldwide Developer Conference and a lot of the Apple announcements that come out over the course of the year. From a product perspective, to their new focus on artificial intelligence, to now focusing on enabling augmented reality experiences through ARKit. It's going to be an interesting next few months as some of these products come to bear, as iOS is released to the public over the course of this fall. The beta was made available to us from a development standpoint today. It'll be interesting also to see the adoption of Homepod. So at a $349 price point, it's a little higher than what you see with both Google Home and Amazon Echo. And it's actually higher even than the upcoming Echo Show, which incorporates voice plus visual into one form factor. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. We'll also be focusing in on really watching how Siri is further enabled for third-party developers, even more so than what was discussed today. So as soon as the developer documentation comes out and more sessions unfold over the course of the next few days, we'll definitely be diving into that. Because ultimately I view how we integrate and leverage general assistants, whether that is Google Assistant, whether that's Alexa voice services, whether that's Siri, is going to be absolutely paramount in terms of how we drive connections with consumers moving forward. As all of these smart and intelligent systems evolve, and then these systems become agents on behalf of consumers, it's going to be incredibly important to consider the fact that it's not just a consumer-centric journey that we're going to have to map against from a marketing standpoint. We're also going to have to consider the impact of system-based journeys. We're going to have to think about the role that situational awareness plays. We're going to have to think about different use cases for the point of interaction with these assistants. You start moving beyond desktop and mobile, you start getting into this whole idea of multimodal computing, to where it's desktop, it's mobile, it's touch, it's voice, it's visual. Visual object-oriented recognition, computer vision driven by artificial intelligence. These are all going to be incredibly key areas for us to focus on over the next few years. Not to mention the impact that having a completely new creative canvas to play with from an augmented reality perspective is going to fundamentally change things as well. So this has been Tom Edwards, the Chief Digital Officer of Epsilon. I hope you've enjoyed this quick fire recap, and be on the lookout for our full written recap as well. And as always, thank you very much.